Hey guys, hope y'all are doing great today. Welcome to this week's Food Forest Tours for April 26th. Hope y'all are all doing well. Right here we've got the grafted pear trees. They're looking really good. Some of them, as you can see, these right here up close have been really growing like crazy, so really growing fast. Some of them are just getting started still. I just looked at a few and they've had, some of them are just, still sprouting out, so kind of, wide variation, but they're getting going. And I went around this recently and put a marker just on where the graft union was, so that I plan to add up soil all up around the new growth, like up to here, for those two new shoots. So hopefully both those, if it's got, two or maybe even three, some of them just have one shoot. Like, actually I think that one's two shoots right there, but some of them do just have one shoot. But hopefully when the soil is piled up, it will encourage the shoots to root, and they will actually form on root fruit trees. And so this one grafted tree would actually turn into two smaller trees next year. So that's what I'm going for here. So we'll see how that turns out, but I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm going to let the other ones that are just getting started kind of get at least probably 6 inches of growth would be ideal, and then I'm going to plan to add up some soil up around them so to encourage the new shoots to take root. Here's the apple rootstock. They're looking good. Got lots of good growth on a lot of them. Looking really healthy. The apple rootstock seems to be really vigorous, and so or a lot of them are. So have had to go around and remove some of the rootstock shoots that'll come up from underground. They'll come up from down there beneath the soil and pop up and try to grow, but want to remove those off so that it puts all the growth into the named variety growth right here. Grapevines are looking really good. Clusters are getting bigger. Looks really healthy. Lots of them everywhere, as you can see on this first one, so that's really good to see. This second one's is a little smaller one, but it seems to be putting on some really good growth. Got a second little shoot coming up down there. I'm just going to leave that as a backup just in case you need it. But that top shoot's doing really good and really vigorous so far. So hopefully when the Japanese beetles come out a little bit later, they will hopefully not, or leave it alone. But I was just looking over here. You can see there's an interesting wasp flying at. Oop. I think I stepped on a bumblebee's house, sorry. But hopefully these predatory insects like the wasps and some of the other ones will help keep the Japanese beetles at bay, and we'll see at least. This third grapevine down on the end's looking really good. Got lots of really good clusters. Really putting on some good ones. All look healthy. Growth's looking nice and vigorous and healthy too, so that's really good to see. This is the same grapevine, just the other side of it, and it is really putting on some vigorous clusters. As you can see, there's 1, 2, 3 huge size clusters right here on this one. There are, there's 3 clusters on every shoot, and they're really big, healthy looking clusters, except for these small ones. They've still got 2. They're just getting going though, but that is really awesome to see. Looking really, really good. Going over to the second row of grapevines. This is the one that I put the little mound down here on, and I had some carrots down there, but I'm not sure if they've. Oh yeah, I do think I see some coming up kind of in the distance over there. Can't tell if it's gonna be carrots yet or just something wild growing, but maybe it'll be carrots. But I didn't really have a whole lot of them anyway, so it won't be a huge deal if none of them come up, but it'd be nice if they did. This vine's looking really healthy too. Got lots of really healthy clusters. You can see like this one actually, it's like a it's like a 2-in-1. It's got the big main cluster, but then it's got almost like a whole half cluster just branching off from the bottom. So really, really excited to see these grapevines doing so well. Looking really good. This is over to the other side of that vine, same grapevine. Oh wow, I just realized I was hiding behind that cluster. Must be a thing with this one. If it's got some vigor, it must put off. Let's see if I can get this leaf behind here. It puts off that, like a mini cluster off to the side over there, to that right near my pinky right here. So that's really interesting. It's got, oh yep, this one's doing the same thing. See that little mini one forming right down here? If I can get my camera to focus, there we go. Each one, it looks like the main, this variety puts about 2 clusters to each new shoot, so not as quite as much as the other one, but the clusters are huge. So, and they do these little side clusters, so that's a that's a nice little benefit too. Just a little wildflower side note: these just letting everything bloom in the food forest has really I've got to see a lot of really neat wild plants, and you can see this is what I think is Carolina geranium. It looks like I'm gonna research it a little bit more just to be positive. Makes these really nice pink flowers, and kind of pinkish whitish. Really pretty though. The leaves are, this really nice kind of look too, and it just grows everywhere here. And it's got there's some clover flower right there flowering, so all kinds of neat stuff just growing wild, and neat to see the diversity. I think it's really helping the beneficial insects to have this just year-round supply of great pollination sources. So we'll see how it turns out. The second vine in the second row is looking good. Speaking of beneficial insects, this looks like a paper wasp right there flying around, but hopefully he'll help get these Japanese beetles that will probably be coming out soon that will be targeting these grapevines. Letting this shoot right here coming up, that'll be the replacement for this side. It's looking good so far. Shoots on that side look super healthy. Debating I may just go ahead and train that one to go that way, and then this one to come along the wire this way. So might just do that to make it easy since those shoots are looking so good. The third grapevine, the second row. It's got this shoot coming up down from the bottom that's really vigorous. That's they seem to do that a lot of times if I don't remove them all, but I kind of wished I hadn't removed them, honestly, because I'm transitioning this area especially into a food forest, hopefully sooner rather than later, just as soon as I have enough time to do it. And I'd really like these vines to be more bushy than just spread out along these these wires. So eventually I'll probably, next year, if I can develop this area as a food forest, I'll probably be actually cutting off all these long extensions. I won't be putting that to waste though. I'm going to try to root every single cutting from each of these plants if I do cut them off, and then that will trigger the plant to produce shoots, hopefully from all along the vine here, that will hopefully be branching out into some fruit trees that I hope to put in, or in this area right next to it, so they can climb on the fruit trees. But we'll see how that goes. This was the vine that had all this crazy vigorous growth right here, but it didn't have, I didn't think it had any grapes on it, but upon further looking, it did, and quite big clusters too. Same thing with the other one. It's got this almost like a half shoot. Oh, there's a little spider. Sorry, buddy. That was, if I can get it to focus, it's got this little side cluster right there. They're just, I think it's just where they're so healthy that they've just, they only can have usually, I guess, buds for so many clusters based on how they did last year. And so I guess if they just really want to make a lot of fruit, they just put a little extra cluster in there, because I don't think I've seen that in previous years. But really glad to see that. Here's another one. There it is right up in there. Same thing, got another little side cluster right here. The tip of that finger coming off. Looking super healthy and nice big full cluster. Going right next door to the third grapevine in the third row. The first and second one are non-existent at the moment. And this one's looking good. Got some good sized clusters right here forming. Looking super healthy. Lots of new growth coming out. This vine just kind of grows everywhere. I like it. It has this nice pink, really pink new shoots. Clusters look really healthy. This is the same vine. It also is doing this kind of big little shoot, but all of this is one of the biggest clusters right now that's forming, and it's looking really good. Got it's almost, as you can see, it's almost as wide as my whole hand already, and it's kind of just getting started, so that's really good to see. It's another really pretty wildflower that's blooming right now. You can hear quite a few things over here, I think, that are enjoying this and getting some pollen, and hopefully they'll help out to just balance the natural ecosystem here. But you can see these flowers from, a good ways away. They just have this nice, pretty blue, light blue coloring that's really pretty. They grow on these stalks. I haven't looked up the variety of the plant yet, and it looks like they form these little seed pods once the flower finishes blooming, but they're quite spread out, and so I'm really enjoying them too. These pink ones look really awesome too. They're just filling in, getting thicker and thicker, looking really good. This is in the fourth row, the first vine. This is my favorite muscadine. Man, is it putting out a ton of grapes. I've never seen clusters like this on it before. It's looking super healthy. Just tons of grapes. This vine will be loaded. As you can just see in this frame, there's just clusters on every new shoot, just growing everywhere. And they did the same last year. The clusters didn't seem as big, but it made a ton of clusters, and it ripened every single one of them perfectly. No issues with the berries not ripening or the grapes not ripening. So I fully expect it to do the same this year. Super healthy, has not been pruned at all, and just growing like crazy. This is the second muscadine. The last one down there is dead, so it looks like it's doing okay. Not as many clusters by far. This may be the last year for this one. It's huge. It's equally as huge, but it just does not grow a lot of grapes. Here's one little cluster right there. Here's one right down here, a few right here, one right there. So yeah, and the grapes from this one aren't they're okay, but they're not nearly as good as the first one. The first ones are really good. So yep, this one will probably be gone after this year and replaced with something better. Thanks for tuning in to part 1 of this week's Food Forest Tours. Hope y'all are having a great day and a great week, and check out the blueberries and maybe some of the other first rows of the food forest in the next video. Hope to see you guys there. Bye guys.